What's up, you guys? Welcome to Project Poolside. Super excited to have you, and just wanted to chat real quick about a couple key concepts that are going to be super important for you guys to understand as we move through the next 30 days. First things first, we're going to talk a lot about food. This huge emphasis is going to be on food for the next 30 days. Food and habits are going to be our biggest two keys. So when we think about these things, I want you to think about them in terms of how you look, how you move, and how you feel. Those two things are going to be critical for us over the next 30 days. As we move through this entire process, what I want to do is want to try and build some foundational understanding of what nutrition really is, the way it affects your body, the way it affects the way you move, the way you look, and the way you feel, and the way that we can kind of package all those things together into one nice package so you can eat sustainably for the rest of your life. Stop yo-yoing and really start to bring out that summer body that you're looking for. So first things first, I'm going to chat through just a couple really small key concepts that I think are going to be critical for us to understand. One is going to be what is really in food. So food is consistent of three different, we'll call macronutrients. Macronutrients are proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. These three things are basically the foundation blocks for calories and energy that the body uses and produce. We can go into the science of it, but I don't really think that's necessary for us to really understand. What I want you to understand, though, is that your macronutrients as a whole are going to be used as an energy source, and they have different purposes. So for the purpose of our program here, what I want you to think about is, hey, we're building a fire, and our fire has, hot coals that are in the bottom. We've got wood that's kind of on the top, and then we've got gasoline that we pour on top and then light with a match. Carbohydrates, for all intents and purposes, is that gasoline that you pour on top and then you light with a match. These are our quick acting, typically in the form of glucose that the body breaks down and then uses right away. Those proteins are going to be what I'll call like the logs on the fire. They're going to be the thing that's going to burn next, the thing that's going to then come in and help bring the energy source next. And the last one's going to be the fats, the thing that's kind of down there in the coals and starts to bring that together. So proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, they all have a different caloric density as well. Carbohydrates and proteins both are 4 and 4, so they've got 4 calories per 1 gram of each. And then a fat is going to have 9 calories per 1 gram. So a lot of people, misconstrued peanut butter is like super protein heavy. Not necessarily. If you look at the label on a jar of peanut butter, you're going to see that it's fat heavy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's also calorically dense because of that fat heavy substance. So when something is higher in fat, it's going to have a higher calorie count. And depending on your specific goals, that may not be something that's super conducive for your goal. So what I want to do next is I really want to break down simply the way that we can talk about how your body looks, moves, and feels. And the way that I'll say that is in regards to our caloric intake, our macronutrient intake, and our micronutrient intake. And I will just break this down really quick for us. So your calorie count. Calories will determine your weight. Let's say I'm a guy who is 200 pounds, which, hey, today is April in the middle of 2025, and that is the case. If it is April in the middle of 2025 and I'm 200 pounds, let's say, for example, that I eat 2,000 calories. This is a little bit lighter than what I normally am at, but we'll just say it's 2,000 calories. And that is my, we'll call baseline level to where my metabolism is keeping up with my calories burned and my calories consumed. So if those things are all equal, I will maintain my 200 pounds in perpetuity forever. Metabolism taken into consideration, all those kind of things taken into account. And I will never gain or lose a pound. That is caloric intake. That is, nuts and bolts of how you determine what your weight is. If I decide to take in more calories than I burn, that puts me in a caloric surplus. Eventually, my body will, 1, adapt, or 2, put on weight. My metabolism may end up speeding up. I may end up putting on some weight over time to where then if I'm taking in like 2,500 calories over the course of a month, maybe I put on 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds. And if this is something that you're looking to do, lean muscle mass, all these things, typically you're going to end up gaining that weight, whether it's good weight or bad weight, typically comes down to what you're eating. Because the person who eats 2,000 or 2,500 calories of gummy bears looks way different than the person who eats 2,000 or 2,500 calories of healthy proteins, carbs, and fats. So keep that in mind. So calories in general, that determines your weight. Now, macronutrients, those are going to determine how you look. A lot of people like get really wrapped around the scale, and I want to kind of take that out of consideration for this program in particular. If you want to track your weight, it's totally a metric for success. What I want to really look into though is progress photos. The reason that I want to say that is because you've never looked in the mirror at somebody who looks super good. They're got a lot of lean muscle mass. They let's say they look like your goal, and been like, I wonder how much they weigh. You don't really care because they look the way that you want to in the mirror. So what I want you to think about is it's more about the way that you look in the mirror than the weight on the scale. So what that typically comes down to is your macronutrient intake, i.e. the amount of proteins, carbs, and fats, and the split between those things is gonna really help determine the way that you look. Now, blanket we'll call advice that I'll say for most people in the nutrition space is somewhere between 0.6 and 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight that you weigh is gonna be something that's gonna be helpful for you to kind of target. So me, I'm a 200-pound guy. I wanna eat somewhere around 200 grams of protein in a day to help retain all that lean muscle mass, continue to build, grow, and improve, and look the way that I wanna look. Now, again, you don't need to eat this way. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you some of the facts here as well. So if that's the case, you can build the rest of your diet kind of around the way that you feel. And that kind of brings us to our last building block of this discussion that we're having today, which is calories, again, determine your weight, macronutrients determine how you look, and micronutrients are what are gonna determine how you feel. So those are gonna be your vitamins, your minerals, your greens, your fiber intake, all these things that are really gonna determine like how well is my body functioning today. You know, am I pooping regularly? Do I have a normal sleep schedule? Are these things interrupted by tummy aches? Am I getting headaches? Are you achy in general? Sometimes the way to get there is through supplementation, and we can talk a ton about those things later on in the group. But what I want you to really think about is, hey, how do I build a foundational level of nutrition knowledge so I can apply that and really start to move the needle? Because it's one thing to understand like, hey, if you shop around the outside of the grocery stores, it's gonna be much simpler to eat. But it's a whole nother thing to start to really be in tune with the way that your body looks, moves, and feels, and then be able to apply that nutrition knowledge to be able to make yourself look better, move better, and feel better, and be ready for that bathing suit. So thank you guys for sticking with me through this video. We're gonna have more of these types of discussions throughout the next 30 days. Congratulations on starting the Project Poolside Challenge 30-day bathing suit challenge. We're excited to see you guys in the group, and we will chat with you guys in the next video. See ya.